we're going to have a canning day. It's time to play with those new Weck jars that we bought at Canadian Tire a while ago. So we've got some frozen tomatoes. So Fred and I, we were wandering around Walmart probably about 2 weeks ago because I had to go and get some, under things. We found 2 bags of tomatoes on the cheap cart. Worked out to be about $5 for each bag. I have some naturally imperfect tomatoes just because I'm just going to use them. I probably should have kept them a little longer. I mean, they're pretty good, but I'm going to use them anyway. And a little bit ago, you guys would have seen me get that $5 flash food bag, and there was a few tomatoes in there too. So we're going to cook these down, and we're going to learn how to use a Weck jar today. So see you guys in a bit. All right, it is time to mill the sauce. Okay, so normally when we make tomato sauce, we use the really fine mesh disc. This time I'm using one size higher because I don't want this to be as fine. We're doing this kind of more like a marinara type setup. Now, of course, this is still more than fine enough to get all the skins and stuff out. All right, let's get this going. Now, this isn't a how to make tomato sauce video. It's going to be more along the lines of Weck canning and let's learn how to do this right. But of course, we're still going to follow all the safe canning recipes, all the safe canning practices. We're definitely not going to do anything that's not safe because, it's me. If it's not a safe recipe, I don't do it. So one thing I did cook with all these tomatoes were some, just a minute, were some of last year's garlic that I had left over in the freezer. Just a minute, guys, I gotta turn this. There we go. That's better. And that's actually what I can smell really well is the garlic. It smells really good. I have to have the spoon there to support this thing, or I'll never be able to actually get this to go through right. Now this is a mix of plum tomatoes and just some tomatoes on the vine, like field tomatoes. To be honest, it doesn't really matter what kind of tomatoes you use. You use the tomatoes that you like. If you want more of a meaty sauce, then just stick to straight up plum aroma tomatoes. A spoon. I want to get as much meat out of these as I can. Oops. Don't lose your support, Tammy. Alright guys, that's it. So, as you can kind of see on the bottom, it's a lot chunkier on this mill than on the fine one, and that's the way I wanted it this time. Okay, let me get this on the stove and then I'll show you the rest. Clean spoon. See how it's a little chunkier? It is very early, like 6 a.m. early. I just pulled this out of the fridge. And this is what it looks like. So like I said, I wanted it chunky. I wanted this to be not like a sauce. So I'm gonna start warming this up. And then I'm gonna start washing jars. after I have my coffee. Okay guys, our tomatoes are ready and we're going to talk about the jars. So let me show you these Weck jars and what we're going to do for canning, okay? Okay, so first of all, this is a regular 500 milliliter jar. Now, this is the one that's been in storage. He's not pretty. We're okay with that. This is one I'm not going to be using, of course. All the other 5 out of the case are washed and ready to go. I'm probably only going to use 4 because we're using the electric pressure canner. And as you can tell, these things are quite a bit bigger. So, first things first, I did do a lot of reading before I even did this. We bought these jars how long ago? It's been a while. But I wanted to make sure I was going to do this right. Now, we're canning tomatoes. Normally, I would water bath tomato sauce in the pressure canner, in the electric canner, or in my steam canner. But we're not. We're taking the recommendation and we're going to pressure can these tomatoes in the Weck jars. Now, the Weck also doesn't have the handy dandy measurement options. So on a regular jar, this is 1-inch headspace. And then this is 1/2-inch headspace when you go halfway around. Well, there's no handy dandy anything on these to tell me where the headspace is. But what I did discover is that the top of the strawberry is 1 inch. So 1/2-inch headspace is going to be halfway through. So that's what we're going to take it on. But let me show you how these things work. Now I washed all the rings. Now this is like old school canning, like you used to use. So the way it works, we're going to fill our jar, clean the rim like you normally would with some vinegar, but the ring will end up going on the lid because it'll hold it. You set your lid, and then it comes with these little clips. The clips, though, are tight. There we go. See? Now, a lot of the recommendations that I saw said 3 clips for pressure canning, but then other pages said you only need 2 clips for pressure canning. I am going to use the 3 because this is the first time seriously doing a pressure can. All right, so when it's done, you take the clips off, and this little tab, apparently it'll hang down a little bit, which will tell you you've got a good seal, which I thought was kind of cool. And then the same as regular canning, you take the rings off. Well, when the jar's done, you take the clips off. Now when you want to use it, you grab the tab and you pull, and that'll break the seal, and ta-da! Your jarred food's ready to go. I thought that was actually kind of nifty. Anyway, guys, I've got the canner going. I've washed the jars. They're all ready to go. That ring I know I'm not using, so let's get him out of the way. We have some basil to put in our sauce. Let's get that done. Get all these little leaves. Oh, man, that smells good. Just saying. I actually just took the tops off of my basil plants that are out on the deck because we are in the middle of another heat wave. Yeah, I'm canning, go figure. And, well, the basil was just not doing well at all. So I just cut off the tops, put it in a cup, have it sitting here on my counter, doing its thing. In case you're wondering, I did wash them too before I put them in the cup, so they are actually all ready to go. Oh, does that ever smell good? Just saying. There we go. I'm not putting a lot, just a little bit. I'm gonna go pop this in the pot and give it a stir. Actually, you know, I think I'm gonna get some more of these little ones. Let's put some more in. because I like basil a lot. There is our lids. And here are our jars. Okay. So I should have more than enough sauce for the 4 jars. If I have to add a little bit of water, I'm all right with that. It's not going to affect our pH, and it's also not going to affect our flavor. Okay, so the next thing that's going in our jars is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, you don't have to put the salt in if you don't want to. I just like the extra preservation of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon. It's really not that much. There we go. Let's bring our pot over. And then we can proceed to fill our jars. Now, the pressure canner is almost ready. Like I said, I'm going to be pressure canning these. They're going to be pressure canned for 25 minutes. And we'll talk food safety and canning safety here once we get everything in the actual canner. Let's see if we can do this. All right. So that's about 1 inch of headspace. So, oh, I guess I don't even really need the nozzle. Look at that. Alrighty. Doesn't that look beautiful with that little bit of basil? Oh my gosh. I can tell you though that it smells really good. Very, very good. All right, I'm going to fill the jars first so I can get this pot out of here. So I can maneuver a little bit better with the lids and the rings. Because I don't want to mess this up. And if there's any left over, I'm just going to make macaroni for lunch. Because I can. Oh, I do have more than enough left over. Look at that. So I did have this right. I don't have enough for 5 jars, but I definitely have enough for 4. All right. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so here's my rings. That's in some nice warm water. All right, first jar. Are we ready? So this does have vinegar on it. I'm just going to wipe these off real quick. Make sure we have nothing on the edges. And of course, the same as any other jar, I did inspect them really well. There's no cracks, no creaks, no crevices, no chips, no anything. The jars are all dishwasher safe. So when I use them, I can just pop them right in the dishwasher and they'll come out nice and clean. And then, of course, hot soapy water the next time I use them. There we go. All right. First lid. First ring. There's the ring. All right. Let's see if I can do this without totally wrecking my tomatoes. There we go. Drop the clip. Now I'm taking that one recommendation that I found and I am putting 3 on each one of these jars because we're going to pressure can them. If I can get this one on. Oh, there we go. Oh, I got one right here. All right, 1, 2. Come on, get on there. This takes some talent, doesn't it? Here we go. 3. Let me put this guy in the canner. Alrighty, number 2. ring. Kind of push it on a little bit. Come on. Try not to touch the inside of the glass. There we go. A little tricky not touching the inside of the glass. All right. Trying different methods of snapping these on. I think it's going to be easier to go from the inside and then to the outside, possibly. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm afraid I'm going to send it flying. All right, I'm going to ask if any of you canners out there have used Weck jars. Because now I'm curious. I'm thoroughly distracted by the scent. Scent? Aroma? Of this tomato sauce. Because this stuff smells so good. Just saying. And the last one. So this is either going to work or I'm going to have a whole bunch of tomato soup. Okay guys, it is a very tight fit in the canner, but nobody is touching. Nothing's touching the walls. There we go. Let's put the lid on. These are going to process for 25 minutes. Okay, so now this is not my 100% first foray into Weck canning, because I bought these little tiny tulip jars years ago. I did it on a whim. I actually pressure canned peas in these. It did work, but of course that was long before you and I, before we all started chatting, and when I was learning some safe canning practices. Now they were canned safely, but they were also canned in that old All-American canner that I have, which has since failed. It's no longer passing its pressure tests. So I can water bath can in it if I wanted to, that's about it. But he is so heavy, I don't actually like using it on the stove that I have here. I am thinking I might make some jam and water bath these guys and see how well it'll come out. So I'm not sure yet, but we'll find out. Anyway, to get to the point, safe canning. Now normally I water bath can tomatoes. There are water bath timings for Weck jars, especially these 742s, that have it in the range of about 85 minutes for water bath canning tomatoes. I decided I am going to pressure can them because they are a rubber seal. They're not like the, you know, the 4 jars lids that we've been using this last year. So I'm going to go by the more highly recommended, which is the pressure can. If this works out well, it's not too bad. Now the thing that bothers me is because they are such a wide mouth jar, I can only put 4 in there. There are other taller, narrower jars that you can get as well. I could probably get at least 6 in that canner if I had the narrower, slightly taller jars. Alrighty, so back to speaking is definitely not my forte today. Anyway, to get to the point, back to safe canning. This is straight up tomato. I add lemon juice to it because, of course, tomatoes all come from different places. I can't guarantee the pH. No, I do not have pH test strips, hence the reason why I always put extra lemon juice in my tomatoes. I do it so it works out to be about a tablespoon, give or take, per 500 milliliter jar. That way I know I'm always going to have that extra pH. I put that 1/4 teaspoon of salt in each thing, or into each jar as well, because the salt does give me that extra preservation value. Even though it's minimal, it's that tiny bit. But You don't have to put salt in any of your canning if you don't want to. I also put a 1/4 teaspoon if I do can vegetables, but I generally don't can a lot of vegetables anymore. So, the Weck jars. Let me grab the box here real quick. There we go. Ta-da! So these are 742s. So what they are is they're 580 milliliter jars, which means they're bigger than my standard canning jar. Not by much. Microwave, dishwasher safe, and freezer safe, which I thought was kind of cool. Now, they are made in Germany. These come from Hastingsville Trading, so weckjars.ca. So available in Canada, but they are not cheap. Far from it. I am really hoping that the majority of our food meals can go in those jars. We'll see what happens. So since we are talking about canning safety, don't forget, we're going to say it. You ready? Don't can things that are not cannibal. Does that make sense? Alrighty, let's start that one again. You cannot, zip, zero, right here, cut it off. You cannot can rices, grains, pasta, noodles. Can't can any of it. Bean, they absorb water, they ferment. First thing. Definitely not good. Okay? You don't want to create gas. You don't want to create botulism. You don't want to create something that will hurt people. Another thing that a lot of people see out and about is people canning things like milk and butter. Guys, you can't can dairy. No, you need a commercial environment to can that kind of stuff. So you can buy canned cheese, canned butter. You can buy those, but these are commercially processed in massive machines that can do the heat and the pressure to do it safely. So don't do that. Okay? Keep your family safe. If you want a lot of butter, freeze the stuff. You can freeze butter for ages. Yes, I have done it. You guys know me. Anyway, I babbled a lot right there. Anyway, like I was saying, safe canning, just stick to the things. High acid foods can be water bath, so tomatoes, jams, peaches, fruits. Low acid foods must be pressure canned. Soups, meats, stock, veggies. Ta-da! There you go. That's my spiel. We haven't talked about safe canning for a little while, so since we're playing with new jars, we're going to talk safe canning. Alrighty. That's on the go. So once it heats up, it'll vent for 10 minutes, same as any other standard pressure canner. I will put the weight on it. It will pressure can for 25 minutes. And once it's completely done, then I have to see if my jar lifter will get those out of the canner. Alrighty, I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Okay, here comes the moment I've been dreading for the last 24 hours. Okay, pop the latches. Now here comes the part I don't want to do. Are we ready? Oh, it's sealed! Yay! All right. Look at that. Okay, okay. Let's move him out of the way. And let's do the next one. I gotta put these all in one spot so I don't lose them. Are we ready? Oh, the lid's not coming off. Yay. All right. Okay. 2. Number 3. Now this one I am concerned about because the little tabby thingy, I don't know. Is it my perception that it's not tipped down as far as the other ones? All right, we ready? Oh, nope, it's sealed. Okay. All right, one left. One left. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Look. Okay, I'm serious. All right, I'm seriously giddy. This is cool. Okay. Seriously. Seriously. That makes me so happy. Like, seriously happy. Yes. Oh. I've been looking at these jars since I took them out of the canner yesterday, thinking, please be good, please be good, please be good. And they're perfect. Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. I'm not going to open it, but I'm going to show you how these open, okay? All right. If I was going to make these, I would take this little tab right here and I would just go plop, and it would break the seal and that'd be it. That's how you open a Weck jar. Oh, yeah. Seriously, I really have no idea how to express in words just how happy that makes me. Yeah, totally freaking out, totally freaking out. Now I can only put 4 jars at a time in the Presto. The big canner, like I said, I probably could put more than 4, but yeah, yay. That's really cool. So if I'm going to keep getting Weck jars, though, I will have to get a jar lifter that's designed for Weck jars, because they have these 4 little fingers that come down to go around that bottom lip. So I swear it took me probably about a minute for each jar to get those out of the canner, just because they are so wide and a regular lifter doesn't really work as well as I was hoping. But that's okay. I can deal with that. Totally can deal with it. By the way, I don't remember what I was going to say. All right, let's talk about the recipe instead. So what I did is I cooked down the tomatoes. I did put them through the mill on one size larger, so it's a little more chunky. I also put garlic in with the tomatoes while they were cooking. So I ended up probably, I think it was about 8 cloves of garlic, give or take. So there's a lot of garlic in that sauce. But it cooked so long with the tomatoes, it actually has like a sweet garlicky, more like a roasted garlic flavor without the roasted side. And once I was ready to put them in jars, oh my gosh, speaking just totally failed there for a moment. Once I was ready to put them in jars, I took a bunch of that basil, just chopped it all up, stirred it in. That was it. Now, the last little bit that didn't get into a jar, I cooked a little bit of pasta and mixed that in. It is so good, to the point where I'm going to make more of that nice basic almost marinara sauce for jars in the regular jars. Yes, it was that good. No extra salt other than that tiny 1/4 teaspoon in each one of those jars. And the only salt in the lunch that I made was the salt I used to cook the pasta in. That was it. And it was so good. Anyway, guys, that's our first real, properly done Weck canning adventure. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was a bit of a trial and error to get those big rings on those big lids, but we did it. Safely done, safe recipe, safely canned, safe, fabulous food. Oh, yeah, totally happy. Anyway, guys, I'm going to link below the website for Weck Canada, because of course I am in Canada. So I'll send the Canadian. If I can find the US side, I'll put that down there as well. If you happen to live in the UK, if you happen to live in Europe, if you happen to live anywhere else in the world, I think you guys can get Weck jars a lot easier than we can. But I was so totally worth spending that, what was it, $39.95 for those jars. Not an investment I'm going to make a lot of, but I am going to get some more. But like I said, I'm going to put those links below. Also, I will put the link for Ball and Bernardin and the National Center for Home Food Preservation, because if you're not going to can it safely, put it in the freezer. Okay? You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time as we continue our simpler life on PEI. And that nice little lighthouse down there, that picture I took, go ahead and click on it and subscribe, okay? Bye for now.